I'm Monica. Standing in the doorway of my apartment, watching my ex-boyfriend, Ethan, and his friend load the last of his boxes into the car, I felt a sense of finality wash over me. It had been a long and tumultuous journey, but in that moment, I knew I had made the right decision. Let me take you back to the beginning. I had bought this apartment a few years ago when I was fresh out of college. My parents, both hard-working middle-class folks, instilled in me the value of stability. My father was a no-nonsense man who believed in saving for a rainy day, and my mother was warm-hearted and always encouraged me to follow my dreams. With their support, I was able to purchase this place when the real estate market was still reasonable. It wasn't the most glamorous apartment, but it was mine, a safe and quiet haven. I met Ethan at a local art exhibition. He was charming, with an air of sophistication. We hit it off immediately, and soon we were in a relationship. After 2 years together, when his lease ended, it seemed like the natural next step for him to move in with me. We could save money, spend more time together, and test our compatibility. The first few months were idyllic. He wanted to change the layout of the living room, and I was more than happy to oblige. He needed more space for his art supplies, so I cleared out a corner of the closet for him. He had opinions about the wall colors, and I listened attentively. I thought we were building a life together, and I wanted him to feel at home. But around the 4th month, things started to change. Ethan began to make what he called suggestions. "You'd look more professional if you dressed up a bit, even on weekends," he'd say. "Do you really still play video games? It's so childish." He also had something to say about my friends. "Your friends are nice, but they don't have any big goals in life," he commented. I laughed off most of these remarks at first. I loved my life the way it was. I enjoyed my casual weekends, my video games, and my laid-back friends. But Ethan would smile and tell me I was being defensive. "I'm just trying to help you grow," he'd say. "If you love me, you'll want to be a better version of yourself." Then, one Tuesday night at exactly 6 p.m. I walked into my kitchen and saw Ethan sitting there, looking like a manager about to conduct a performance review. His laptop was open, a notebook lay beside it, and a glass of water was placed carefully to the right, untouched. I knew right then that this conversation had been planned long before I walked through the door. "Hey," I said, slipping my bag off my shoulder. "We need to talk," he replied, his tone serious. I set my bag down slowly and sat across from him. "Okay, what's going on?" I asked. He took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about our future," he said. "I think it can work, but you need to make some changes." He slid a sheet of paper across the table. I made a list. I picked it up and read the first line, "Your existence is embarrassing." I read it again, and then a third time, as if my eyes were playing tricks on me. I folded the paper carefully and looked at him. "Fair enough," I said. His eyes widened in surprise. "What?" he asked. "You're right," I continued calmly. "I'm clearly not meeting your standards." He leaned forward, a look of relief on his face, until I stood up. "So," I said, "you should probably start packing." He stared at me as if I had spoken a foreign language. "That's not what I said," he insisted. "I said you need to fix some things if you want this relationship to continue." And I said no, I replied firmly. "So we're done." He ran a hand through his hair and started pacing the length of the kitchen. "You're being dramatic. This is how relationships work. People compromise," he said. "Compromise, not erase yourself," I retorted. "That's not erasing yourself," he snapped. "It's improving. You're too comfortable, too passive. You don't push yourself." "I'm trying to help you be better." "Better by whose definition?" I asked. "Yours." He stopped pacing. "By any reasonable standard," he said. "Funny," I said, "I was reasonable right up until you told me my existence is embarrassing." "That's not what I meant," he said. Then what did you mean? I asked calmly. Be specific. He opened his mouth, closed it, and then tried again. I meant I need you to care enough about me to try harder. To try harder to become someone you wouldn't be embarrassed to be seen with, I said. That's what you wrote in ink. He shook his head in frustration. You're twisting this. I'm reading it, I said. Those are different things. So that's it? He demanded. You're just giving up? I met his eyes. You gave up first. You just expected me to beg instead. He scoffed. I didn't think you'd actually choose to lose me over this. You didn't think I'd have enough self-respect to not tolerate being insulted in my own home, I corrected. That was your mistake. His face crumpled, and shock turned into panic. Monica, come on, let's slow down. We don't have to decide this tonight. You already did, I said. You just framed it like an opportunity. I walked past him towards the bedroom. What are you doing? He called after me. Helping you pack, I replied, opening the closet. At first, I felt disbelief. How could he say such a thing? Then, anger welled up inside me. And finally, the tears came. This is insane, he said, his voice breaking. You're throwing away 2 years over one conversation. This wasn't a conversation, I said, pulling a suitcase from the top shelf. It was an evaluation, and I didn't pass. He followed me around the apartment, alternating between pleading and accusing. I was just trying to communicate my needs. You're overreacting. I didn't actually want to break up. I didn't argue. I just focused on packing his things. By 9 p.m. Most of his belongings were neatly stacked by the door. He sat on the couch, mascara streaks down his cheeks from crying earlier, clutching his phone like a lifeline. Where am I supposed to go? He asked quietly. You can stay with a friend, I said, or get a hotel. This is my home, too, he said weakly. No, I replied. It's my apartment. You moved in 8 months ago. Your name isn't on the lease or the deed. And you just told me you're embarrassed by my existence. People who feel that way don't live here. You're being cruel, he said. I'm being clear, I corrected. You set the rules. Fix these things or you're gone. I chose not to fix them. His phone rang, and he answered, his voice breaking again as he explained the situation to a friend. I heard his friend's outrage and validation echoing through the speaker. He left around 10 p.m. With 2 suitcases and his laptop. I'll come back for the rest tomorrow, he said. Text first, I replied. After the door closed, the apartment felt different. It was bigger, quieter, and lighter. I opened my laptop and changed the Wi-Fi password, then my streaming accounts. It wasn't out of spite, it was about moving on. I noticed that the spare key I'd given him wasn't on the hook. I made a note to call a locksmith in the morning. At 11 o'clock, my phone buzzed. It was Ethan. I can't connect to the Wi-Fi. What's the password? He texted. I didn't respond. He called, and I let it ring. Another text came through. Seriously, you changed it? That's petty, he wrote. I replied, you don't live here anymore. You don't need access. He texted back, I still have stuff there. I need cloud access for work. Use your phone data. Not my problem, I replied. After 5 more messages, I muted the conversation. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, I called the locksmith. I gave him my address, approved the quote of $200, and scheduled the appointment before noon. It was a small price to pay for peace of mind. By 12:15 p.m. The locks were changed. I held the new keys in my hand, feeling a sense of security. At 1:02, my phone buzzed again. Ethan texted, "I'm coming by after work around 6 o'clock to get the rest of my stuff." I replied, "I'll have everything by the door. Your key won't work anymore." He was clearly shocked. "You changed the locks?" he asked. "Yes," I replied. "Are you serious?" he texted. "Completely." "See you at 6 o'clock, I said. I spent the afternoon moving all his items into labeled containers. I wasn't sure about some of the cables, but I didn't want to risk keeping them. I stacked everything neatly in the entryway. At exactly 6 p.m. There was a knock on the door. I opened it to see Ethan standing there with his friend, Lisa. Her arms were crossed, and her expression was sharp and defensive. "All your things are right here," I said, gesturing behind me. Ethan looked past me, his eyes landing on the new lock and then on the boxes. His jaw tightened. "Can I come in?" he asked. "No," I replied. "I just want to talk," he said. "We already did," I said. 5 minutes, he pleaded. "Please." "No," I said firmly. Lisa stepped forward. "You're being really heartless," she said. I met her gaze calmly. "He handed me a list that said my existence is embarrassing. How would you react to that?" She hesitated for a second but then said, "He was trying to help you. He was being honest." "Honest about his contempt," I replied. "Those are different things." "You're impossibly stubborn," she snapped. "I'm comfortable with that," I said. "You can take the boxes now." They made 3 trips to the car. On the last trip, Ethan stopped in front of me, his eyes red and his voice low. "I didn't mean it the way you took it," he said. "Yes," I said. "You did. You just didn't expect consequences." "I loved you," he said. "I loved you, too," I replied. Past tense. Lisa grabbed his arm. "Come on, she's not worth this." They left, and I closed the door, locked it, and leaned back against it. I felt nothing but relief. That evening, Ethan started posting vague things on social media about narcissists and emotional abuse. Some of our mutual friends were confused, some were distant, and a few believed him. When someone asked for my side, I sent them a photo of the list with the first line circled. The responses changed immediately. "Oh, that's harsh." "Yeah, that's not okay," they said. By Friday, more private messages came in. People were shocked to hear what he had said. His posts stopped by Saturday. On Sunday afternoon, his mother, Mrs. Thompson, texted me. "I heard what happened. This seems like a misunderstanding. Can we talk?" she wrote. I stared at the message for a long time. She had always been kind to me, but this felt like an attempt at mediation. I replied, with respect, "This is between your son and me. There's no misunderstanding." She texted back, "He's devastated. He says he made a mistake." I replied, "He's devastated because there were consequences. That's not the same as being sorry." She then said, "He loves you." I replied, "He loved a version of me he thought he could reshape. That's not love." She didn't reply. That night, I slept deeply. On Sunday night, Ethan messaged me. "Can we meet for coffee, please, just to talk?" he asked. I stared at the screen. Seeing his name brought back a familiar feeling, but it was just muscle memory, not emotion. I replied, "No." He then said, "I miss you. I made a terrible mistake. I want to fix this." I asked, "Fix what? Your opinion of me or my opinion of you?" He said, "Both." I exhaled slowly and replied, "I'm not interested. Please move on." He asked for just one coffee, but I didn't respond. I blocked his number. 2 weeks later, I ran into Ethan at a coffee shop near my apartment. I was in line when I felt that subtle shift in the air, the sense of being watched. I turned slightly and saw him standing near the window, his cup half raised, frozen in mid-motion. "Hey," he said. I nodded, not saying anything more. I ordered my coffee, and he followed me to the pickup counter. "Can we talk?" "Just a minute," he asked quietly. "I don't think that's a good idea," I said. "Please," he said. "I've been in therapy." I glanced at him. He looked thinner and tired. "That's good," I said honestly. "I'm glad." He brightened, thinking I was inviting him to sit with me. "Can I sit with you?" he asked. I took my coffee and walked to a small table in the corner. He sat across from me without being asked. "I've been doing a lot of reflecting," he began quickly. "My ex used to criticize me constantly. Nothing I did was ever enough. It messed me up more than I realized. When I got with you, you were so comfortable with yourself, content. It bothered me. I didn't understand it. I thought success meant always pushing, always improving. So, I tried to turn you into that. That list was cruel. You didn't deserve it. I was projecting my insecurity onto you. I'm really sorry." I said, "I appreciate the apology, and I'm genuinely glad you're getting help." Hope flickered across his face. "But," I continued, "it doesn't change my decision." His brow furrowed. "Why not? If I understand now, if I know why I did it, doesn't that count for something?" "It counts," I said, "just not enough. That wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. That was a deliberate attempt to hurt me into compliance." He leaned forward. "I love you." "Maybe," I said, "but not in a way that's healthy for me." Tears welled in his eyes. "What else can I do?" "Nothing," I said gently. "There's nothing left to fix." I stood up, leaving my coffee half finished on the table. This isn't a story where we circle back and grow together. This is where it ends. I walked out, and he didn't follow. 3 months passed. Life went on as usual. I was still in the same apartment, working the same job. I still wore jeans and soft sweaters on weekends, read sci-fi novels on the couch, and spent time with my friends. The biggest change was the absence of tension. I no longer felt like I was being evaluated or that I had to be someone else. About 6 weeks after the breakup, I met Daniel through a mutual friend at a small game night. He was kind and quietly funny, and he listened to me without interrupting. On our 3rd date, he asked about my ex. I told him the whole story and showed him the photo of the list on my phone. He read it slowly and then looked up at me, his eyes wide. "Your existence is embarrassing," he repeated softly. "Jesus, who says that to someone they claim to love?" "Someone who doesn't actually love them," I said. "They love the idea of fixing them." He shook his head. "You didn't deserve that." "I know," I said. A few weeks later, we were at his place. He noticed the stack of sci-fi books by my bed and smiled. "You've got great taste," he said. "Any recommendations?" I almost laughed. That was the difference. It wasn't about grand gestures or intensity, it was about acceptance. A month after that, I got a message request from Ethan on social media. I almost deleted it without opening, but curiosity got the better of me. He wrote, "I heard you're seeing someone. I hope he appreciates you more than I did. I really am sorry for how I treated you. You were right. I wasn't in love with you. I was in love with the idea of molding someone into what I thought I wanted. That was wrong. I hope you're happy." I read it twice and felt nothing but acknowledgement. I didn't reply. I closed the message and went back to my life. The list is still on my phone. I've thought about deleting it many times, but I keep it. It's not a reminder of Ethan, it's a reminder of the moment I chose myself, the moment I decided I didn't need to apologize for existing. I exist exactly as I am, and now I'm with someone who loves me for who I am. And the Wi-Fi password? I never did give it to him. Small victories.